As you're thinking about your business and the information that you control, maybe you have a fiduciary duty to protecting information that has been entrusted to you by another business or by individuals who are using your services. You should think about how privacy frameworks, rules, and laws apply to you. What kind of information do you have? You should do an assessment to understand the types of data that you have, where it comes from, who gives it to you, how does it flow through your organization, who has access to it. The answers to all these questions will help you understand what your obligations are. And so you have to think in terms of the type of data you have to determine what kind of information applies to you. If, for example, you have healthcare information, you have patient information, even if it's something just like a billing code of a medical procedure that occurred for someone, then you fall under the requirements of the HIPAA privacy rule. HIPAA would apply to you in that case. If you're doing business worldwide and you're doing business with citizens of the EU, then you need to know about GDPR and implement those provisions there. There are specific provinces in Europe and in other countries where they've defined their privacy laws that apply to their citizens. And there are issues being explored now about, are you as a business in America responsible for implementing the laws and regulations of another country because you are doing business with one of their citizens? If you are pursuing something in terms of an ISO standard, there's an ISO framework, ISO 27701, that is a standard for privacy management. In the SOC 2 world, they utilize the AICPA privacy management framework, which spells out 9 different privacy principles. And so understanding these laws and how it applies to you begins with understanding the types of data that you have. I was in a session with a client recently when they said, we're not obligated to follow GDPR. And they thought this because they didn't have any locations or employees in Europe. But we asked them, do you do business with EU citizens who come to America and engage with your services? And the answers were, yes, we do. And it turned out, as we dug a little deeper, they had information on children. They had dates of birth, they had names, addresses, email addresses, things like that. And one of the attorneys that was in the room said, well, we only collect that data and use it for what it's intended, and then we don't keep it. And so therefore, we don't have an obligation to comply with all of these requirements. But there was also a data analyst in the room who spoke up and said, oh, that's not true. Actually, I've done an assessment and I've identified that we have many years of this information. And one of the attorneys said, how many records is it? And I believe the answer was something like 36 million. So it was a big miss by the organization. They did not realize what they had and they didn't understand how they were using it. So do that in your organization to understand, because that's the first step for then going and looking at the different frameworks that are out there and understanding which laws and regulations apply to your business.